Welcome to the Rock You Podcast for authors, coaches, thought leaders, and speakers. Are you ready to share your message with a bigger audience and create a better world? It's time to see you, be you, rock you.
All right, everyone, welcome. Ronnie Tsunami here with Rock You Academy. And I'm with a very good friend and member of Rock You Academy, Adriana Steinwedel. Adriana, based out of California, really impressed me because just passion. I got to get into it because I'm in health and wellness. I've been in health and wellness for at least 7 years, since 2015, when I got sick in 2014. Adriana, welcome to the Rock You podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here.
You know, Adriana, one of the things I love about you is you're just real. You are just real. And when we talk, you know, we talk about the frustrations. We talk about whether it's in personal health and business, right? And we talk about things, but you actually have a really cool wellness program. We're going to show more about that. But before we do, tell me more about your background, because I understand you have an investor type of background that actually led to our program that we're going to discuss. But tell me more about this whole investment background.
Oh, well, it started after I was a teacher for a while, and had a family and had the kids growing up. And then my husband basically was killed. And I was still doing substitute teaching at the time, but I knew that wasn't going to pay all the bills. So I went to a class called, trying to think what it was called. Anyway.
What was it about?
It was about career planning, but this one was for adults in transition. And there was a whole lot of people in the class who I wanted to go from teaching into maybe training, corporate training. And there were a whole bunch of people in the class who were saying, no, we're in corporate. We want out. We want to teach. And
really?
It was like the grass is always greener.
So
anyway, I started looking at other opportunities, and I ended up with a place where I got a license to sell life insurance and mutual funds. And so my investment career started, and that I was passionate about that. I'm passionate about helping people, but I was educating them, and I loved educating them, but I wasn't going to twist their arm to take my suggestions. I didn't want to do the manipulative things that they were teaching us to do to get people to do what would be in their best interest, but it just wasn't working out for me. So from there, I went into doing some real estate investing, and that's been very productive. And I even still do real estate investing to this day. In fact, I can help people get started in investing in multifamily properties all over the United States, but it's not my passion. So I invested in all these things. I invested in my education, and I invested in my family, and I invested in insurance and the stock market and real estate, but I never invested in my own health. And I knew growing up that one, I liked sugar. I liked sugar a lot.
We all do.
Well, but I would do things like, as a teenager, I would go in my bedroom at night and I'd have this big bag of M&Ms, you know, not the little ones that they give out on Halloween, but a really big one. And I would start eating them. And before I knew it, the whole bag would be gone. And I'd wake up in the morning and boy, my stomach would hurt. I mean, it was awful. but it didn't keep me from doing it again. And so I knew I had an issue with sugar. And I also knew that I had relatives who had type 2 diabetes, and I saw what was happening with them. And I never, ever wanted to get diabetes, but I never did anything about it. And then one day I was at the doctor's, and she said, "Oh, by the way, you have type 2 diabetes." So, just
she said by like in passing, like, by the way, thanks for coming. Oh, and by the way, you got type 2 diabetes. That nonchalant?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
So what went through your head when she said you having seen family members with type 2 diabetes? What was the first thing that went through your head?
Oh no, what am I going to do? I don't like taking medication, and I don't want to have some of the things that I saw happening to my relatives. And it was like almost a death sentence.
So what did you do then? Okay, what were did the doctor give you an action plan of how you're supposed to handle your type 2 diabetes?
Well, she sent me to classes which taught me supposedly how you're supposed to eat. And what was interesting in the classes, if I ate all the carbs that they were telling me to eat, it would be way more carbs than I was already eating.
Really?
And I'm going, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I started doing some research, and I did a lot of research on the internet and in the library, and I found lifestyle changes that I could try to make to help lower my blood glucose. But I also found techniques and things that I studied, such as hypnosis and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and EFT, emotional freedom technique, and even some energy techniques that not only helped me to make the changes in an easier manner, but helps keep me on track.
Now, for our audience members who might not know some of these techniques, talk to me more about NLP. For those, again, for the audience who may not know what NLP is, how would you describe it?
Oh, okay. Let's see. NLP is like aligning your brain to make changes in your behavior. And, it helps your brain to change your behavior.
And we need that definitely for maybe lifestyle changes, right? I think that's one of the key things that people say makes it so hard is kicking a habit of eating late at night or eating that sugar, as you said. So I've never really thought about using NLP. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people tell me that, especially in the coaching space, for a number of NLP practitioners. But it's curious as far as like, I've never really thought of NLP in the use of. We use it for marketing, but not for health. You know what I mean? Like, how do you use it in health? Can you really change people's habits with NLP?
Oh, absolutely. And I also have a process where I combine NLP and EFT to help with cravings.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, again, describe for the audience again. EFT, because I know EFT is tapping. You know what I mean? So Is that what you're talking about? Tapping combined with the behavioral, NLP. Right? Really?
Absolutely.
So are these techniques you use every day, or are these like things you do on a weekly basis? Like, how often do you use these techniques for, in terms of my health?
Well, I use them as often as I need them. It could be every day. It could be once a week. At first I used it an awful lot, and as I've cemented some of these habits, I don't need it quite as much.
Got it. So you got NLP, EFT, and I think you mentioned healing. Tell me more about the energy healing. How does that play into the the lifestyle changes, or helping with someone that's got chronic disease?
Well, energy healing it's a form of complementary and alternative medicine based on the belief that a vital energy flows through the human body. And the goal of energy healing is to balance the body.
So you use the energy healing combined with the EFT, combined with the NLP. Those are, Adriana, when we talk, that's why I was like, I have never heard of all of those combined with your traditional, techniques, right? When someone talks to me about chronic disease, mostly type 2 diabetes, but there are other chronic diseases, heart disease, hypertension, even obesity, right? As is considered a disease. Then to use these different techniques together, is there a particular age group that this works better with, or is it does it work for kids to seniors?
I think it works with anyone, anyone who wants to change their lifestyle. Kids are pretty much under control of their parents. Like growing up, I was a charter member of the Clean Plate Club. That was something my parents foisted on me. I didn't make that one up.
Hey, the Clean Plate Club?
Yes, the Clean Plate Club, because we've got you've got to eat your food because there are all these starving children in China.
I remember that. I remember those times. So with this so basically you're helping people to invest in their health, right? Their wellness.
Right.
With it. So what's the biggest challenge, do you think, based even on your own experience, what's the biggest challenge in terms of making those changes, those lifestyle changes, that are required, for stopping or preventing or reversing these chronic diseases?
Right. Well, the biggest challenge is keeping up the changes, is making the changes and then keeping them up. They've done studies where they've shown that ongoing support really makes a big difference in keeping these changes. In fact, they did a study, I believe it was in Cleveland, where they took people and went to the regular doctor, and then they had the functional medicine, people went to a functional medicine doctor, and then they had a third group that not only went to the functional medicine doctor, but they actually went as a group. And they had group exams and group meetings. And that group did a lot better than just going by themselves. And of course, going to a functional medicine doctor did better than the regular doctor. But having the group support really made a big difference.
It's interesting thinking back to when I was sick and I had all my joints were inflamed, my eyes were shaking every 3 minutes, which kind of basically gave me vertigo every 3 minutes. Very, very sad in terms of my life, my daily life. I really hated life at the time. And I felt like there was nothing I could do. And they kept saying, well, just change your diet, which I did. I went plant-based and I ended up losing weight and my eyes stopped shaking, my joints, and I went on a whole food plant-based diet. But one of the challenges was sticking to that diet, right? And as you said, it's one thing to make a lifestyle change, but to do it consistently afterwards. And people will say, well, I tried it for a while, I felt better. And then they jump back into the way they were because they're like, well, I'm feeling a little better, which then just creates this cycle. Then they get sick again. So I've just never thought of using EFT or NLP or even energy healing as a way of staying on the tracks. You know what I mean? For it. So what is your recommendation for someone who has no background, no experience whatsoever in these techniques, right? These other techniques being applied to health. What's your how does someone get started?
Well, the easiest one to get started, I believe, is EFT. Hypnosis and NLP take a lot of training.
Really?
And energy healing takes training, depending on who you train with and which modality you use. But EFT, you could look up emotional freedom technique on YouTube and get dozens of sessions of how to do tapping. And most people do it very similarly, but there are slight differences.
Now I understand you have a program that you've just launched, the beta program, with your Invest in Your Wellness system that I believe it includes, teaching people some of these techniques. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell us more about that program. What does that program entail?
Well, first, before I get into that, I do want to mention that in my research, I found that 1 in 10 Americans already have type 2 diabetes, and 1 in 3 Americans have pre-diabetes. And so if you've got 2 good friends and they're not the ones with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, then you do it yourself.
I know that stat. And it's jarring when you see it. You know what's jarring is when you see they'll show graphics of the United States, and they'll show like the total population, all these blue characters, and then they'll show like all the ones that have type 2 diabetes in one color, and then all the ones that have pre-diabetes in another color. And you're like, whoa, like percentage wise, I mean, that's a big deal of just the sheer number of people that are facing, these issues with type. Yeah. That's hard. I have friends who do the shots, every day because of the type 2 diabetes.
And, when you've got pre-diabetes, you're still doing damage to your body, and you're heading towards type 2 diabetes if you don't do anything about it. So after all this research and working on myself, it's in my heart to help people. What I really wanted, I can help people who are pre-diabetic or have maybe just gotten diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But my real passion is to help people before they even get pre-diabetes to lower their risk of getting it.
Yeah.
And any other chronic disease, because
right.
They're all lifestyle issues.
And that's one of the challenges, right? Is that people tend to only enact lifestyle changes when they've been injured or have some life-changing event. I will admit it. I was one of those people where don't tell me how to eat. Don't tell me lifestyle changes. Don't tell me about anything like related to my health. It's none of your business. And then when I got sick in 2015 and couldn't walk or see, then all of a sudden my life was at the forefront of my priority, right, of changing what I need to change, or basically die, either change or die. And unfortunately, death is often the catalyst, or at least the risk of death, the high risk of death. Our impact is the catalyst for change for people that need a kick in the pants, so to speak. So you're saying actually there are ways to start these lifestyle changes now, even before that's even a concern.
Yeah. So that's what my class is about. It's about making these lifestyle changes and learning some techniques that will help you make it easier to make those changes and keep those changes. And the class also will provide support, and you'll have an accountability partner so that you can keep on track. And you'll get resources, some menus, some tracking sheets, because what you measure gets done.
Right. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it, they say. So you're showing progress.
Yeah. So besides, every week there'll be content, there'll be coaching, and there'll be a process of some sort, whether it's a meditation or a hypnosis or an NLP technique, or like I said, EFT or a combination.
Wow. So you can learn all of that in this program.
Well, you're not going to learn exactly how to do hypnosis or NLP, but you'll learn a few things in there that will get you started. You certainly will learn EFT.
How long is the program?
It's a 6-week program, once a week on Zoom. So you can be in the comfort of your own home.
That's good.
And, I'd love to help you guys.
So if someone wants to get started, how much is the program?
Okay. Well, the regular price of the course is $997. For the beta class, which you'll have to cut this part out of after we do the beta class, is an investment of only $497.
Oh, wow. So for $497 for 6 weeks, for only $497, you're going to share with me techniques. One, lifestyle changes, but share with me techniques to help me stick to those lifestyle changes.
Right.
And those lifestyle changes, I mean, there could be quite a few lifestyle changes depending on what your illness is, right? How sick are you? I'm curious, out of all the different techniques, what's your favorite? Is it EFT?
I think EFT is my favorite just because it's so easy to do. And, if you're somewhere out in the world and you don't want to be seen tapping, you can really do it. Imagine that you're tapping.
Really?
It should still work just as well.
Adriana, and I got to tell you, having been in the health and wellness field to where I literally launched a line of meals, right? Plant-based meals, launched the support groups, 400 cities around the world. I cannot believe I haven't even thought about using some of these alternative techniques for behavioral change, right? NLP, EFT, and even the energy healing, which I'm actually now a big fan of. I think because people tend to focus just on diet. And I'm like that too, right? I mean, I'm all about plant-based living, but there are other things. And that's one of the challenges people tell me. The biggest challenges is people tell me, I'd love to go plant-based, right? But I don't think I can stick with it. Or I want to go vegan. And I'm like, you don't have to go. Vegan is actually not just plant-based. Vegan, you don't eat animals because you are against the cruelty, right, of animals. So of killing animals. So it's a different mindset, more in terms of ethical eating. But plant-based is, I just happen to eat more plants than I do meat, right? But they tell me they can't. I could never give up cheese. I could never give up my bacon, every morning. I can never give up this. I can never give up that. And then we're always like, well, just give up what you can. And, so we try to ease them through. But now I can go, well, actually, there are some techniques that can help you to create that change if you really want to change, right? So I'm excited to learn more about what you do, Adriana. I'd love to attend one of your classes.
Oh, that would be awesome.
All right. So how can people, if people are interested in learning more about this Invest in Your Wellness program, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can email me at adriana@investinyourwellness.com. That's Adriana, ADRIANA, @investinyourwellness.com. And you can put I'm in the subject line if you're in and you want to attend the pilot program, or you can go to investinyourwellness.com/calendar and book an appointment with me if you feel you need some more information.
Okay. Excellent. So they can contact you through email at adriana@investinyourwellness.com, or they can just go right to your website, which is investinyourwellness.com, and just go ahead and book a time for you with you there.
And you know what else they can do is if they go to dropdiabetes.com/giveaway, they can get opt into my list and get a free report with 3 easy ways to make some lifestyle changes.
Oh, excellent. So dropdiabetes.com/giveaway.
Right.
All righty, guys, you heard it. Adriana, I want to thank you so much for what you do, number one, and then for being a part of Rock You Academy, for being so giving in what you do. We've known each other for, has it been at least 6 months, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 9 months. We've known each other for 9 months. And I can't wait to learn more and share your program, because like I said, behavior change in terms of lifestyle and health is the hardest thing people say. They just can't give up this, they can't do that. And because they're scared of not being able to give it up, they don't even try, right? They're like, they've already assumed there's no way I can do it. I think you give hope to people. So guys, if you know someone that's facing chronic disease and maybe even feels hopeless, like there's no way to change the way they are, Adriana's got a program. All right, Adriana, thank you so much. I look forward to I'm attending one of your classes. Put me in.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.